Hey, welcome to Mad Dog's After Show. You're along for the ride with the Mad Dog and Cole, the Rabbit Badger Barrel.
Only good jokes have punchlines.
I decided to fly through the air and live in the sunlight and enjoy life as much as I could, and that's just what I'm doing.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure? Stay calm.
Man, so much inspiration in those incredible words from Mr. Evil Knievel, just flying through the air, living in the sunlight, and enjoying life.
Yeah, man, and we couldn't be doing this podcast without our first responders and our brave men and women of the military. Just want to take a quick second and especially thank our first responders right now here in Southern California. They have no water, outdated equipment, uphill battle, and they're just trying to keep everybody safe and keep everybody's homes intact. So, special shout out from myself and the podcast. We've had so many fires out here this year. Well, I should say this winter season, and man, just we got to be so appreciative of what you guys selflessly do.
Yeah, absolutely. Special thanks, thoughts, and prayers to those, dealing with the devastation, but it could be so much worse without the heroic efforts of the amazing first responders.
Absolutely. Yep. Man, just wouldn't want to be in their position right now. Not, I mean, that's every day, but my goodness, seeing the pictures looks like apocalyptic ruins. Just
Yeah,
gnarly.
yeah, absolutely. It's crazy, and all of those affected, all our friends in motorsports that are out there, um, and really everybody affected. Just serious thoughts and prayers from all of us over here at the after show, and so grateful for our first responders. And we're, like you said, so thankful for our service people all around the world, and of course our veterans and the families of those that gave all, the KIA, MIA. Thank you so much. Deep respect. And again, just amazing job, and serious shout out to the first responders. We're going to get right into this because we got some Dakar, we got arena cross, we got local bike chief stories. We got so much coming up right after we thank our great partners and sponsors like Kicker Performance Audio. Find them online, kicker.com, on Instagram at Kicker Audio for all your premium audio needs, whether it's personal or 12-volt for your car, truck, side-by-side, sand rail, boat, motorcycle, whatever you need, hit them up, kicker.com. Of course, Bomber Floating Eyewear, Bomber Safety Eyewear, Bomber Badass Eyewear. If you're going to be a badass, you better wear a Bomber. Keep your eyes safe with any number of their ANSI 87 OSHA approved safety lenses, over 40 frame styles. I don't even know how many lenses. Of course, I'm a big fan of the Boogie Bomb. I also like the Pipe Bomb. And by Tommy and his gang's own admission, we've kept the Boogie Bomb and the Boogie Bomb Mono series alive. Thank you, Mad Dog's After Show listeners, for keeping this style rolling. But yeah, hit them up, bombereyewear.com, or on Instagram at Bomber Eyewear. And check the in credits for your Mad Dog discount code. Want to be sure and welcome and be thankful for our newest partner sponsor, Assault Industries. You can find them online, Assault, IND, like industries.com, for all your premium ATV, UTV, off-road accessories, equipment, apparel, whatever you need. hit them up or find them on Instagram at AssaultUTV, or, like I said, on the webs, AssaultIndustries.com. Of course, the Premix Podcast, our man Cole sharing his passion for all things desert racing through the lens of a camera. Also available for your MC and announcer needs. You can slide into his DMs over on Instagram at the Premix Podcast. That's the at symbol, ThePremixPodcast. Hit him up. Of course, Kelsey Morrell Film, just knocking our videos out, handling all our video production, getting them all up on our Mad Dog Media YouTube, doing such a great job. If you only knew the work she had to do to get all these sorted out, you'd be hiring her right now. You can find her on Instagram at Kelsey Morrell Film for all your photography and film work, from pre-production planning through production to post-production perfection. Kelsey Morrell Film. Of course, all our social media logos, all of our templates, and our website at MAddOG'sGarage.com, all handled by the incredible Hey Geeks Marketing. For all your social media needs, design needs, website needs, hit her up on the webs, heygeeks.com, or find her on Instagram, Hey Geeks Marketing. Holy cow, it has been a busy beginning of this year. First, you were racing last weekend, bike chiefing, correct?
Sure. Yeah. That was the,
We'll start out there.
Oh, great. Thanks. It's, it's a lot easier to pit crew when your rider comes into the pits. It's a lot less sitting around and doing nothing. Oh man. Yeah. Let's start this, dude. It's like 2024 was kind of a goofy end to a rough year, and I believe in the power of positivity, but it's like, man, my Anaheim Ducks suck. I feel like a loser. I'm having technical problems at my house, and it's like, all right, I need a win. Well, I didn't get that this weekend either. So starting 2025 with a bang, dude. Yeah, we went out and did the checkers chase. I think it was something like 55th annual or something like that. Something
wow.
crazy. It's a long standing running race, but real quick, the format was 100 miles. First loop was 40 miles, second loop was 40 miles, and then the third loop was 20 miles. And so essentially, checkers MC are known for two things. One, they're known for making extremely difficult race courses. That's just what they do. And then two, they're known personally for taking creative lines at other people's race courses. So that being said, back to point one, everybody knew going into this checkers race that it's not going to be easy, and it's a real challenging desert race. But hey,
wow,
that's what some of those guys like, and they say it's one of those races where every mile is certainly earned, mile by mile. Okay, cool.
Yep.
But yeah, just to get right into the actual racing part of it, it was Jake's brother Jesse, who's my age. He's been featured before on the 24-hour teams, and he's done a couple other off-road races recently. And he was always a really good rider. Like, I grew up with him. He's a month older than me, so he was always very good at BMX, very talented motorcycle rider. And now this is kind of his resurfacing back into the racing world, which is good.
Awesome. Yeah.
Get him back on the kind of get him back and focus on racing. And
for sure.
And so I wish he was here on this broadcast, but he just looks at the world different than even you and I see it. He just he's one of those guys, and I think there's a lot of racers like that, but you see black, he sees white. Okay, cool. So we roll up to the line, and it's really cool because in modern desert racing for motorcycles, they start a pro line, an amateur line, a novice line, and then whatever the other classes are going to be, whether it's kids or, amateur women, something like that. Well, in classic desert racing fashion, they had a true bomb run with smoke at the end of a 2 or 3 mile run. That's your first checkpoint you got to hit, is a live fire, a live bomb run. But they put everybody on the same row, which is like classic on any Sunday.
Right.
Hundreds of guys starting in this valley going one direction, and cool. That's the way it should be done. And so we rolled up to the line a little bit later, just because it's not really worth sitting there in the sun, in the elements. All you're going to do is sit there nervous and be sitting there thinking. So we rolled up to the writers' meeting basically as late as we could. And I think we're actually even a few minutes late, which is fine, because whatever, you're not really missing anything. But the problem with that is the only spot available in these hundreds of guys, it was a nice little start, and then 30 feet later, there's a bush about the size of a Volkswagen Bug. So it's like, okay, you have 30 feet to either go left or go right, because of all these bushes, I don't think you can go through it. So I think he got a good start. It's a dead engine start. And as soon as they drop the banner, you kick it and go. And, obviously majority of bikes now are going to be electric start, which is amazing for desert racing, but that's not what we were on. So we knew, okay, 40 miles. And if he's got a kick-ass average, 60 mile an hour average, we'll call it, he'll be here anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour. And obviously we have no idea what the hell's out there. We have no idea what this loop looks like. So let's just figure, okay, about 40 minutes, we'll start to get stuff ready for Jesse to come in. And a lot of waiting. Okay. We think he got a good start, but it's a lot of dust, really can't tell. And, more riders come by, and there's more guys. And then here come a few kids, and here come some super minis, and still no Jesse. And it's like, well, that's not good. So we're not on the radio, but we're listening to the radio, just listening for V036, or just make sure that there's no rescue needed, or no broken down, anything like that. Doesn't hear anything. And I see my old racing frenemy, nemesis, good friend now, Justin. He's pitted a couple spots down from us. And so I went down there and I'm like, hey, has Justin come through yet? And they said, well, no. I'm like, okay, well, that's good. Because if Justin hasn't come through, that kind of gives me a good idea that we're doing okay. Well, sure enough, Justin comes through, and it's like, okay, I think we officially have a problem somewhere out there, because we have not seen Jesse Young anywhere. So about 2 hours on the dot, Jesse came into the loop, and he needed help off the bike. He had 2 flat tires. He was blowing bubbles. And what was so interesting was that, because it was a checkers race, like AMA District 37, they kind of made an exception, and they said, okay, if you're over it after the first loop or the second loop and you don't want to go out for the next one, they go, let us know when you're checking in. Just say, I'm done. Just cut it, and then we'll give you, if you do 1 loop, we'll give you 70% of your points. If you do 2 loops, we'll give you 90% of your points. And if obviously you do all 3, then you're going to get all your points. So he comes in and he says, I'm done. And they look at his number plate and they go, yeah, right, dude, you're an expert. You're not allowed to quit. And he's like, what? And I go, yeah, you got to do all 3 loops if you want to get scored. He's like, well, that's no good. Well, he's already blowing bubbles. He already can't think straight, can't walk, whatever. So he comes back to the pits. We get him off the bike, and we just kind of look at this thing, man. And it's like, the bars are mangled. Both levers are done. The front brake line was severed. Fork seal's blown out. This thing is just weeded, and it's if we could have changed the tires, the thing was rideable, but
right.
But I don't know what dimension Jesse was in at this point, right? So
right.
I think we kind of called it, and then he explained to us how he wasn't allowed to quit, even though they said you're allowed to quit. So we rode to the marshal at the end of the pit exit, and they said, "Oh no, well you got to tell him at the beginning." So, well, we already tried that, and we were hoping you're going to be our saving grace. The guy's like, "I don't know, what to tell you, man. Like, you're an expert. You're here for the whole shebang." So,
Boo.
so we called it right then and there, and
Boo.
dude, it was just it was gnarly. And so what ended up happening was he was going down, I think it was Means Dry Lake out there, kind of where our King of the Hammers friends will know where that dry lake is, that famous dry lake you see in a lot of commercials and stuff. But he got out of the dust and went a little bit to the right to try to get some of the riders that were close to him, and just out of the dust hit one of, could have been a foot, could have been a 3-foot mogul, who knows, but fifth gear, ground sky.
Oh.
By the time he found where he was and found the bike, he said he sat up on a rock and he drank out of his Camelback, and he just smoked a cigarette and just took his time, and said he just let the world go by, and then he found his bearings and then just finished the first 40-mile loop. So applaud to him for finishing the 40 after weeding it, about 10 miles
Oh yeah.
in. But dude, it was one of those things, like, glad he's okay. He still does need to go to the doctor. He's gonna go to the doctor. It's just, you know how men are and everything.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get it. Like, but so yeah,
our
he's
lady listeners right now, our female listeners right now are like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
it's money, it's time. There's a copay. It's a whole thing. And are you really injured if no one tells you you're injured? But
right.
but yeah, man. So it was. I'm glad he's okay and the bike can be rebuilt, but he's chasing this expert championship, and it's like, okay, round 1.
Yeah.
You go, well, you get like 10% drop points or whatever. And it's like, all right, well, we already just used that in the very first round at Checkers. So the bike can be rebuilt. I haven't talked to him this week. I don't know how he's physically doing. I saw some pictures that he's pretty bumped and bruised and everything. And so I had a great time out in the desert. Anytime, dude, putting around the desert, just being a menace, like, that's always a great time. Sure beats being at home. But it was just one of those things where, like, you're driving home and you're like, man, we got P11 in this last championship last year with Jake, and like we had so many issues at the 24-hour, and like spend all this money coming out here and all this time, and to get basically a DNF, it's like something good's coming. It's just I'm ready for it to be here now,
Right.
So,
hey, maybe that was the third shoe to drop, or whatever the phrase is.
I mean, maybe, it's I mean, it sure made for a damn good story. And
yeah, it's a great story.
Like, Jake and I had a lot of time to have some adult beverages and eat pistachio nuts while we waited for a rider to come in. But other than that, like, didn't have to do anything, sent them off. And then 2 hours later, it was like, oh, we're done. So
yeah, crate her up and load her in the truck.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. So yeah,
Dang.
It was, like I said, it was a good time to be out in the desert. And we had good weather considering it was clear, really cold, light breeze and stuff. So it was nice. But yeah, just on the racing side of things, damn, dude, talk about like tail between the legs again, and then I think there's something to it too. And I think you'll get this. I mean, I know you'll get this, but it's like in a world of like, oh, if I was on the bike, who knows how different it would have been, right? And Jesse's such a better rider than me, but also it's like you just have these thoughts of, oh, like I sit in the pits and what's his deal, So he's the one out there doing it, but yeah, I don't know. It's just another good story for the Rolodex, I guess. But
right.
But I'm like, man, like, can we get something here?
Yeah, you just need, like, you're like, come on,
just something,
just a freaking peanut, please,
dude. If we got to go to K1 and go get a win at K1 Speed Go Karting or whatever, if we got to go to Palace Park and go race go karts, whatever, dude. We just need something in the thumbs up category because it's been rough.
Yeah, you've had a tough quarter of racing for sure, So, but man, what a story! I I feel bad laughing, but it's a
We were
it's a
laughing,
great
so don't.
story. Yeah, for sure. And just to put it in perspective, um, everybody has those ups and downs,
Yeah.
you know, and you know, heading towards Arena Cross Loveland, which was
Yes.
the first weekend of January. Um, I mean, prime example, man. We uh, our good friend of the show, and recent guest, Kyle Peters, 5-time champion consecutive, was forced to pull out of the series, and I know it ripped him, and the underdog who we just had on the show, um, was basically, in his words, I'm just here to get some points.
Right.
You know, I know I can't be fast. I know I can't be competitive. I'm just trying to salvage points. Um, so like just to cover those two things, um, in Boise, uh, the second night of Boise, Kyle Peters cased a jump hard, which went a little long. Really unusual for him, but he was in the heat with Freesey, and he actually like hit it hard enough that his helmet smacked the bars.
Ah, that's so scary.
And with his broken neck and fixed and all that, um, he said he heard a pop in his neck, and his left arm started going numb. And to his credit, he stuck it out the entire main event. Uh, but, finished down. He still finished in the top 10. But at the time, I knew his dad and I are close, and I knew he was heading off to the hospital to get checked out. But, we never expect not to see him at the next round, right?
No, of course not. Especially after the last 5 years of domination.
Yeah. So, and I mean, he rode through a broken thumb last year, you know, and probably the most physical competition wise, Ryan Brees I wouldn't say rides dirty, but rides aggressive,
For
right?
sure.
So, there was a lot of bump and grind last year, and he rode through that, and um, so as it turns out, he's got to have a little bit of surgery. And talking to him last week, he said he plans on being back next season to chase number 6. So, you know, knowing him, he'll be back. He'll be fast. I mean, it breaks a thumb, he gets faster. Breaks his neck, he gets faster. Wins 2 championships. So he's got to have a little hardware repair in his neck, and I'm sure he'll be back in the gym and back on a bike as fast as possible. Um, so that's kind of the KP deal, all in one quick wrap up.
Maybe he's smart though. Maybe this is, I'm going to stamp it right now. Maybe this is a strategy. He's going to let those scrappy dudes figure it out amongst themselves, and he'll come back in the nice clean racetrack.
Sort them all out. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very possible. Very,
We know
very
what you're doing,
possible.
KP. We're on to this.
Yeah. We've said forever, he's an incredibly smart racer.
Yeah.
So, and then KB went down in Boise. Boise won, actually, and just actually a lapper jumped crooked off of the double, and KB had the choice to crash midair into a lapper or kind of change his trajectory and hit the soft stuff on the landing. Hit the soft stuff and He was saying it's so weird too, because he was like, it's probably the slowest crash I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
The bike stopped in the dirt, the front end tucked. He went over the bars. The bike came over behind him. And when he went over the bars, he put his left hand out and just caught it awkward, and actually tore a tendon in his left, uh, uh, in his right hand.
Ow.
So put his hands out to catch him, tore a tendon, and actually slightly broke his thumb and tore some bone particles off of his thumb where the tendon was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he had surgery. He was literally out on the bike. He had, what did he say? He had 4 or 5 or 8 garbage laps of practice in 2 weeks. And then he gets out to Loveland, with the biggest whoops of the year, the biggest finish line double of the year. And just, goes out and I think the first night he qualified 5th or 6th, maybe 7th, but top 10,
Yeah. Yeah.
considering he had surgery 2 weeks and 3 days before on his throttle hand. Pretty impressive, right?
Yeah. Probably not doctor recommended. Obviously
No,
impressive.
no, I guess his doctor reluctantly let him do it. His beautiful wife was a lot more reluctant,
Really.
but he still did it. And man, good for him.
Yeah,
He
that's huge.
he showed his dig, what it is to be the underdog, right? So getting on to the racing, holy cow. I think I texted you Thursday, I think it was, when KP made it a press release that he wasn't going to be out or wasn't going to be racing the rest of the season. And you texted me, and I was like, yeah, I kind of know. But I said, gloves are off, Uh,
Ow.
Everybody's been staying cautious of Vince Freese because they're afraid of the way he normally is. They know he's going to ride them dirty. He's going to put them in the stands if he gets a chance. And so people have been real cautious, but they're also going, hey, this is like rounds 5 and 6 of a 12 or 14 round series. We can't let it get away.
No, of course
Right?
not. No.
Between that and a lot of guys that are just have the stigma that KP's a 5-time and he's going to be 6-time somehow because he always finds a way. And then all of a sudden KP's not there. So it was my opinion on Thursday. I'm like, gloves are off, boys. It's tarps off.
Opened everything. Yeah, tarps off. That's a great one. But yeah,
So,
definitely opens everything up. It's there's a lot of guys that could have already won it to begin with, and now it's just I feel like the glass ceiling's broken, and yeah, watch for sharp objects everywhere.
yeah, absolutely. And it was really good racing. Hicks showed a ton of speed. Politelli showed a
Yeah.
speed I haven't seen out of him. And of course, Brees looked awkwardly uncomfortable both nights. It's kind of weird. Out of form for him, but I think he's rattled. He was the bad boy last year and he's not this year. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Our boy Kyle Bitterman went 5th overall. I think he went 7 and 5 on night 1.
Let's see.
Or between the two mains.
Yeah, you got it. 7 and 5. Main 1-7, main 2-5.
For a 5th overall.
6th overall, I guess.
Oh, I thought he went 5-5.
Behind
anyway.
Chandler Baker.
Okay. And Baker showed good speed too. And it was good racing. There was a lot of people taking a lot of little checks at each other, and a lot of guys, really close to Freesy, much less concern about retribution. And I think it was the first main Friday night, might have been second main, right off the start. And to me, I thought it was pretty funny. I'm sure Tony and Lassie didn't think it was near as funny.
Can't wait.
But there, on the gate drop, there was Freesy, Brees, Politelli, Hicks, and Bitterman were all got the equivalent of the whole shot going into that first left-handed pinch corner, right? And Brees came in so hot that he grabbed a handful of front brake, and he was trying to cut down on Freesy, and Freesy snapped the rear end and kicked his front tire out from under him and put Brees on the ground.
Ooh.
I mean, ultimately, Brees put himself on the ground because he was doing a nose wheelie stoppie to left turn,
but just went full wrecking ball.
Yeah, in a 5 bikes.
That's awesome.
So it wasn't gonna go well for him anyways, probably, but he ended up on the ground. So the fans just went crazy. There was lots of challenge, lots of guys trying to get up close. Notable, going back to the heat race, the first heat race of the night for Kyle Bitterman, he timed the gate just a hair wrong and got stuck on the gate. Yeah.
Oh boy. Yep.
Yeah. So he was the last one out of the gate in the heat race and was back like seconds, many seconds.
It's a hard way to start.
He rode all the way up to second place.
Oh boy. Wow. That's what a charge.
Pretty impressive, and he's got up to where, like Reese wasn't making time on him. So, but it was pretty impressive. It was, I didn't get to see it. I've watched the replay in fast forward on TV earlier today. And yeah, it was a hell of a ride. I mean, he's out there with, gauze tape and tech tape all over his right hand and skimming the whoops. And they were big, dude.
Yeah, that's like, it's one thing to do it in desert or even motocross where you can pick some better lines and stuff, but arena cross is just nothing but technicality for the entire course. So yeah,
23 second laps.
It's like need to tape his hand to the bar or something at that point.
Right. So yeah, anyways, the as it turned out in the second lap, it was the second lap of Main 1 Friday night, there was a Kawasaki rider down. I think he cased the finish double and was stalled.
Oh, I saw that. Yep.
Yeah, and you couldn't really see the backside of the double. In the riders' meeting Friday morning, they warned everybody, they had a red light at the corner before the jump, before the start double, like the finish line double, right? So they had a red light in that corner that was very visible, and they warned everybody because of the track, if the red cross will come out if there's somebody down on the other side, because you couldn't see them.
Good. Well, it's a good safety thing to have.
Absolutely. And they said, that red cross comes out, you got to roll.
Yeah.
Second lap, the Cowie cased was stalled on the downside of the landing. Red light was on. Red cross flag was out. And both Freezy and Brees jumped the double.
Yeah, I don't know. Adrenaline gets the best of you, I guess. And like, I almost wonder if they had a second of doubt of that it was a mistaken red light, but I don't know. On TV, at least, it was pretty clear. Who knows what it looks like behind the handlebars, but kind of hard to
Yeah.
ignore that flashing red light on the inside of the left-hander.
Yeah, as you're going into it. I mean, the red light was on early.
Yeah.
So I watched, I'm good friends with the AMA officials, and we talked about it, and they showed me, and your good buddy Eric,
Oh, yeah.
that handles scoring and timing.
Mr. Kedla. Yep.
Yeah, Eric Kudla and his girl Ocean, who are just incredibly awesome people. Love you guys. I hope you're listening to this episode because you guys are the bomb. But anyways, I got the opportunity to see the footage after from one of the AMA officials, and it didn't have to be in slow motion to see the red light was on and the red cross was out, right? So all things being fair, good, and equal, we had a different main event winner because per the AMA set rules, if you jump a red cross flag, you get docked 2 positions off the finish.
Yep. Yep.
So we ended up with Austin Politelli.
His first main win.
First main win. He's a nice kid, and I know he didn't want to win it that way, but a win's a win, especially when you're racing guys like Hicks, who finished second, Freezy, who ended up third, Brees, all those guys. So second main went pretty much like most of the mains this season. Dude, and then Saturday came, and I think the frustration was just building and building and building. And Saturday, things got chippy for everybody. I mean, yeah, there was guys in the C heat that were taking each other out.
Oh, good.
Like, yeah, and the B main, and I mean, and everybody was edgy. Everybody was pushing each other around, and Hicks has found a lot of speed with that Rock River Yamaha, I think it is.
Yep.
Which was Brees's old team last year, so we know the bike was fast. We know they've got a good program, and it was a interesting night, and I think it was that night, main 2, when Brees got put on the ground at the start, because he was nowhere in contention when they got towards the end of the race, and Hicks had finished second in the first main. And in the second main, he was just, he was all over Freezy for the last half of the race.
Yeah.
And to the point where Freezy made a couple of mistakes. And at one point, I thought he was I got to watch a tiny bit of it. I didn't get to watch the end. But I did watch it on replay on AX All Access. And he was almost completely crossed up in the whoops with 2 laps to go or 1 lap to go or something.
Spooky.
Yeah, Hicks had the heat on him. And Vince went double through the rhythm. And Hicks went triple. Ended up inside going into the second to the last turn, put the squeeze on him, but he went inside out and surprised Freezy. Maybe he has no awareness of what's around him, because you would think he would know, like, Hicks was there.
Yeah,
right?
jam on the brakes and then cut under.
Yeah, but all of a sudden, Hicks was right beside him. He locked up the brakes. Hicks, to his credit, did not smash into him, did not bash him out of the way. He cut him close. And of course, Vince panicked and whiskey throttled and ended the bike out from under himself on a berm in the corner, because he was basically stuck between two, one tire stuck in one rut, one in the other.
That's awesome.
Because Hicks had taken every line away. And yeah, so by the time he got up off the ground, it was Hicks, Politelli, and Freezy he had taken back third by, I believe it was like 1/100th of a second.
Wow.
And so super exciting. I was, of course, outside on the concourse where we were set up, where the Kicker audio booth was set up. And holy cow, man, the building was rattling when Freeze went down.
That's huge. What else could you ask for?
Yeah, for sure. Especially after, Freeze was such a crybaby and whiner Friday night after being docked, and then I actually when I watched the replay, I actually watched the interview with him after they got docked for jumping on the Red Cross. And dude, it was like all he could do was complain about everything to do with Arena Cross, And so it's like he was acting like a little crybaby, and it's bad form for competitors to act that way. For one, for two, it just puts more fuel to the fire of everybody that loves Arena Cross, that is like, oh, you don't like the ground? Let's put you there again, I think it's coming. I think you're going to see it ongoing.
I guess every show needs a heel, right? So whatever, he can slide into that role. So go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just, not that I had any respect for him before. I don't know the man personally, so I can't say either way. But talking trash about the series, it's paying your bills.
The bold choice, Cotton.
Right. Easier to get away with it if you're somebody like Kyle Busch in NASCAR.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Come on. Don't ruin my whole Thursday. Let's not talk about
that. So, but with that, man, what a great, exciting night. We're out couple of week break, about 2.5 week break, and we'll be in Guthrie at the Lazy Arena, biggest arena of the year, for one night only, Friday, January 22nd. And it is going to be, I'm sure that it's going to be a show.
Yeah, it's always that good Oklahoma dirt, and obviously Arena Cross is cool because it's on such a small piece of land, but I don't know, it's kind of cool when it opens up and the track builder gets to get creative, and I think the riders probably like it too. So no, it should be a fantastic round.
Yeah, I talked to the track build supervisor today, and it's going to be an interesting track.
Good. All right, good.
And it's going to be big.
Gator pit, loop-de-loop, ring of fire.
Yeah.
Logs. All right.
Might as well be, yeah. Let's just say everything's going to be big.
I'm for it. I don't got to ride it, so I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it. So, yeah. So that was my Arena Cross weekend, dude. And
sounds great.
Yeah, I was, and bright note, the poor underdog that just was there to get points, to try and just score some points, went 5-5. So,
Yeah.
he ended up fifth overall for the entire weekend, and that's pretty good salvage for having surgery 2 weeks earlier on your throttle hand.
Yeah, and still fourth in points. So he's
Yeah.
definitely doing well with the damage control. Yep, that's hats off to you, Mr. KB. That's huge.
And he was fast, dude. In I think the second main of Saturday, when Brees ended up on the ground, KB ran in second for quite a while.
Oh, good. Yeah.
But you could see, I think he probably ran in second 4 or 5 laps, and wasn't really losing touch with Freese. He was right there, but you could tell he was riding in pain.
Mm. Yeah, and I guess the common person in the stands, like who doesn't really closely follow the series, like you almost wish you could have a banner behind you that says like I'm hurt, so I'm doing pretty awesome considering.
Right. Yeah. No, and everybody recognized that. So that was yeah, it was an exciting weekend
Sounds
for
like it.
sure. Yeah. Yeah, and I can't wait to Oklahoma now. That is just about 35 miles from world headquarters for Kicker Performance Audio,
Yeehaw.
Stillwater, Oklahoma. That's their home turf. That's their home race. And it is going to be a biggie. We got some good surprises coming.
Good.
All that being said, on top of everything else, Dakar started January 3rd.
Yeah, third was
I
the
don't even
prologue.
know.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You nailed it. You do know.
Yeah. And I've been following the social media posts and Mama Quintero's posts, her daily download. And thank you so much, Amy. I love you. I'm throwing hearts at you right now. And yeah, holy cow.
Yeah.
What jeez. I don't know what to say. Like, I'm going to throw it over to you for the prologue, and let's get through the prologue and stage 1 at least.
Yeah,
And
what's funny? The prologue was obviously it was short if you were
yeah,
one of the fast guys. I think like the fastest guys were doing around 18 minutes or something, like incredibly short. But I didn't realize, and I don't know if this is a new rule or if I just never realized this before, but I always thought that the prologue wasn't a shakedown. I thought it was basically the first stage. So when I found out that it didn't count after our American boys did so well, that was kind of a bummer, but whatever. Like, okay,
right.
dry my tears, moving on. But it's already been a very interesting start. They had that chrono stage. And for those who don't know, I'll try to explain this as well as I can, but basically, you basically go as far as you can in an allotted amount of time, and then you're stopped within the next closest, we'll call it next closest stage
Pit.
or stop or pit. Yeah, next closest pit. So you go as far as you
Checkpoint.
can.
There
Your
we
next
go.
they stop you at the checkpoint, and then that's where you're going to spend the night, and you really don't have any help. There's a weird strategy. Do you go easy on day one and then lay your cards out on day two? You got to kind of play cat and mouse with everybody who's in your class. So it's interesting. They went prologue, stage one, immediately had that weird chrono stage. And then over the last 2 days, today was the second day of a marathon stage, which is similar to a chrono in the idea that it's a very long stage without assistance. But basically, that's the big part of it, is that there is no assistance. So at the end of the day, whether you're a factory Ford driver or a factory KTM rider, whatever, you got to work on your own stuff. So I think it's really good that they mix it up like that. I think it is fun, and it is um, a good homage to Dakar, how it was before. Like you got to figure it out. You can't, it gets rid of this rock star mentality. And I'm always really surprised. And I don't know if you kind of feel this way too, but like if you think of a NASCAR driver, Formula One driver now, somebody puts it in the wall, they're walking away, and they got 30 pit guys to work on stuff.
Right.
I guess I'm surprised this year about even like the big names, especially in the car categories, about how mechanically inclined they are. Like they break off like control arms and stuff, and they're out there with tools and they got to fix it, you know? So
Yeah.
I think stuff like that, politics aside, keeps Dakar interesting and exciting. And you can be the world's fastest racer, but if you have a problem and you and your co-dog can't figure it out, like, well, then you're hosed. So I guess then you're not really the best racer in the Dakar category.
Right. Yeah, and it's the thing I've found really unusual so far. One, the chrono or the prologue,
Mm-hmm.
our bike guys did good.
Mm-hmm.
Which our bike guys, Ricky Brayback,
Skylar Howes, Mason
Skylar
Klein.
House, Mason Klein, all did good. All posted well, good times. And friend, they call him friend of the U.S. Toby Price, former
Yep.
bike guy, is racing in a T1, T1 plus, and he did well.
Yep. And he's with Sam Sunderland, who's another a two-time winner on bikes.
Right. And then Mitch Guthrie Jr., sorry. Mitchie is in the brand new Ford Raptor.
Yep.
With I think teammates Carlos Sainz
Mm-hmm.
and who's
Ekstrom, isn't it? Yeah, no, it is
Ekstrom,
Ekstrom. Yeah. Got out Sweden.
Definite talented senior members.
Yep.
As compared to Mitchie and his youth, but they're all. It's a brand new program. That Ford Raptor Dakar program, World Rally Raid program, is a brand new program.
Yeah. Ford's been on that Ranger program, and I don't know if that was an M Sport deal or whatever, but yeah, that, like you said, the Raptor program, totally new car, totally new.
Yeah, and then of course our boy Seth, running the Toyota Gazoo, T1 Plus, and he had an okay prologue,
mm-hmm.
and then went out and won stage 1.
Yep.
So stage 1, I think Mitchie was like just consistently smooth. I think they're still shaking the vehicle down, in my opinion, trying to get used to it.
Probably so.
Yeah. Was it stage 1 or stage 2 that Carlos Sainz yard sailed his?
I think that was 2, and then Mitch had to unturtle him.
Yeah, I had to tip him back over. Stage 1, Seth actually finished second to begin with on time, but he had stopped to help I think a motorcycle rider. I'm not 100% sure.
I think it was Leia Sainz. I think she had some kind of issue.
Yeah, and so they helped her, assured she was okay, got medical on the way, and then continued on the race. And one nice thing about the Dakar deal is if you do something like that, they credit your time back like a good Samaritan deal.
Yeah.
Whereas I think in a lot of cases in U.S. racing or score south of the border racing, if you stop to help someone that's in trouble, well, too bad,
Yeah, that's a purely how do you work? It's a purely selfless act in the fact that like you're just gonna lose that time.
Yeah.
Where Dakar luckily promotes helping somebody for the love of God. Yeah, sportsmanship. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I seldomly have anything good to say about the ASO or the FIM, because they're a bunch of dicks.
Yeah.
But anti-American dicks. But that is one thing that I really like that they do.
Yeah.
Is that promote sportsmanship, promote the the Dakar lifestyle. I mean, it's so different, right? Um, and then it was like you said, they went straight from stage 1 to SS2, which was stage 2, and then SS3, which was the 48-hour chrono,
Mm-hmm.
which very confusing to me.
Yeah.
And actually, I think Quintero won the stage 2, not stage 1.
Yeah, I feel like a bad fan, but yeah, I know he prologue for sure, and then one after that. So
Yeah, I think it was 2 because I think he opened on the on 3 for the chrono stage.
gotcha.
And man, they had a tough go. I guess a bunch of punctures, ran out of tires, or was that? No, that was 4. Sorry.
But that all
That,
blends into that chrono 3 and 4 deal too. So
yeah, chrono. Yeah, it's just crazy. Um, you know, no, 4 and 5 is a marathon.
yeah, yeah, 5
So
just
3
ended.
was a chrono. Yeah. Um, or as Amy calls it, the crow. Hell no.
That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, it's but it's brutal like you were saying. That's super brutal cuz um those guys you like how do you play your cards? You've got 1,000-kilometer stage, which in US is like 600 miles, 660 miles. Um but you only have a certain amount of window to get so many K in. And then you have to, when that time expires, you have to go to the next checkpoint and stop
Yeah.
and set up a tent. And you don't have any of your, nobody in your team, nothing. It's you. If you're in a car, it's you and your co-driver. If you're on a bike, it's you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they have the Dakar trucks bring their bags in with their gear. Um, they all get the same rations, it looks like. They supply them with like a generic, here's your meal in a box. Um, you know,
Who knows
good
what's in
night.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sleep tight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I don't know. It's I'm glad that they do that. Just keeps it exciting. And what's interesting too is like think about the weeks of training you would have to do to really understand the vehicle that you're because you had nothing to do with the engineering, the designing of this thing. You're just the racer, but you got to know what the hell's you got to do if a wheel falls off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think in a lot of cases, the dirt bike guys have a advantage
Yeah.
because most dirt bike guys know their bike.
Yeah.
Like I know very few moto or dirt bike riders that don't know how to work on their shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's just from being grassroots and everything, you know?
Sure. But there's a lot of car racers that, I mean, I'm just going to say it, that were really good at Atari or whatever, Xbox, and now have a ride.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they don't know shit about shit.
Yeah.
They know to get in, turn the wheel, step on the gas, stuff like that. But, have probably some of those type of racers, not that there's a lot in the car, and I'm not going to call out any, but there sure as heck is in other sports, especially NASCAR,
Yeah.
that the drivers can't do anything.
No, of
They
course
probably
not.
can't even change a tire on their own personal car.
I've seen some guys that can't even drive their own. They can haul ass on a racetrack, but they'll curb their own trucks. I've seen it. I've seen the documentation.
So, anyways, yeah, it's just crazy. They go into the chrono, and they come out of the chrono and go directly into the marathon stage.
Yeah, that's
which is
Ass
another
whooping.
2-day stage, you know, where they stop. But fortunately, they're the only driver, co-driver, or bike rider are the only people that are allowed to work on their bikes. They can't have any outside help. But at least they're allowed to have their team there, even though they stay, basically they have to stay in tents again, I believe, and all that. But yeah, man, it's just crazy. And going back to the point I wanted to make about signs, going back to that, when he yard sailed that car in stage 2, I guess it was, and Mitchie turned him, or no, it was the first half of the chrono, stage 3. Mitchie turned him over. They got in. FIM inspect. He was able to continue.
Yeah.
Like they took a bunch of body work off the car and kept going. And then the FIM inspected the car, and the roll cage had a slight bend. Yeah.
Yep.
And they pulled the plug.
No moss.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, whatever. I wasn't rooting for him anyway. Good guy, but I guess it's good that they didn't let any further damage happen. But that's a hell of a smash where the organization's like, yeah, you can't keep driving on this thing.
Yeah. Well, unless was it stage 2?
It was between 1 and 3.
Yeah. It might have been 2 because they still had pit assistance. They had bivouac at that point, I believe. And, anybody that's raced a caged vehicle or built a caged vehicle knows that given the right amount of time, which they had all night, could have been fixed and could have been fixed safely and adequately to continue the race. Unfortunately, and here's where I have a huge problem again with the ASO and FIM is why not let them fix the cage if it can be fixed and be safe instead of making them drop out completely. They can't even run for the experience class for stage wins.
Yeah, I didn't know it was not that bad. So yeah, that would be sad if you got pulled out and it was repairable. And like you said, the experience, because that's what and you're gonna have to enlighten me on this, but like even Sarah Price, I know that she's already out of contention, but obviously she can still run, but obviously had
Right.
some sort of issue.
Yeah, that was I believe on the I think it was on the chrono on stage 3, where they had, I believe, an electronics or fuel delivery issue, and they were assessed because they required assistance to get to the pit. They were assessed a 20-hour penalty, and they're no longer qualified for the overall in their class, but they still run in what they call the Dakar experience, which allows you to continue to race the series and race for, it's my understanding, still race for rally raid points.
Oh, that's good.
And stage wins.
Yeah, I mean, think about literally the thousands of dollars and man hours to get over there to get your card pulled would really suck. So yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, so I think it's unfortunate, and I don't agree with them if a cage is repairable. They have some of the best mechanics, technicians, engineers, whatever you want to call them. They're on site to deal with anything. I'm pretty sure they could fix a bend in a cage.
Yeah,
Just my opinion.
I truly, I'm definitely not one to defend the ASO, but now I'm curious. I'll leave it at that.
Well,
I'm curious.
And who else was it that yard sailed their car and was forced to drop out? Huge names that you expected to be in the running at the finish. Nasser, I believe, wasn't it?
No, he's still going. Coma. Roma's having issues in T1. I don't know.
Shoot, I can't remember who it was, but he yard sailed a car and wasn't Nasser. Are you sure?
No, I'm not sure. But no, I'm not sure. But I know Nasser just got a speeding penalty, which is why Seth was able to squeak out another win.
Oh, that was when he returned to the bivouac, he didn't have his you have to have both spares on board.
That's what it was. Yeah, that's just that's for one, so you don't magically lose them for weight reduction, and two, let's be a little nicer to the planet, not leaving wheels and tires out there.
Right. So yeah, I think there was a lot of skepticism right off the bat. But the actual penalty was because he returned to the bivouac, got done with the stage without one of his 2 spare tires.
Whoops.
Yeah. And so, you got to keep those with you. And that's, I guess, why they spend so much time in all the classes, making sure that they're secure and tucked away. Whereas, like, you don't see them hanging off the back of the car like you do at Score or More.
No, not at all.
Or Snore or whatever the hell all the other race series are around here anymore. All American, I don't know. But those guys, like, I saw a video last week where a guy got nerfed in a trophy truck and one of his spares came off.
Gone. Yep.
Yeah. Anybody stop? Anybody slow down? No.
Yep.
Anybody get a penalty? No.
Somebody got a free wheel and tire that won't fit on anything, but
right. The course sweepers found it, I'm sure, when they swept the course at the end. But I actually kind of like that rule.
It's good.
So, but man, Dakar has just been insane, dude. It's crazy. Like
TV coverage is so much better, I think, this year. Like, especially on the YouTube highlights. My only complaint, and this is a personal thing, not enough Mitch coverage.
Well, and I'm going to get into that in a second because the hate is back.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So, but before that, I want to cover Seth and Mitch and the whole group coming stage 4. Apparently was like through lava fields and everything else.
Nasty.
Yeah, and tire punctures were a huge issue for everyone. Seth ended up having to change 3 tires. Another competitor gave him a tire.
That's awesome.
Which, kudos, super awesome. That being said, it's a marathon stage, and you can't receive assistance from anybody. Right? Anybody outside of the race.
Oh, right.
So here they are at the quote unquote bivouac, the camp out, having to fix their own tires to try and have a spare tire for stage 5.
Yeah. That sucks to go out there with no spare. That's intimidating.
Apparently they had no spare and they won stage 5.
Kudos to you, man. That's a lot.
Now, that being said, he won stage 5 because of the penalty that Nasser got.
Yep.
And I know Seth and Nasser are very close, and I know that just has to really, I'm sure it bothers Seth that's how he beat him. But, if I was to say anything to Seth, I'd say don't sweat it, man. You got to be there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Derek Cope didn't feel bad when he won the Daytona 500 because Dale Earnhardt blew a tire.
Everyone has their day,
Yeah. I mean, I've talked to him. I know.
Yeah,
he didn't feel bad. He didn't feel bad at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
And I'm one of the few guys that stood behind him and said, "Hey, he was in second.
Yeah, he didn't get a flat, so
You got to be there, right?"
Yep.
So yeah. Anyways, going back to my immense despise for the ASO, FIM, and it's starting to spread to TV again.
okay.
As I watched, I haven't got caught up on watching it, but I did watch some of Stage 4 on Peacock,
Mm-hmm.
which you can watch, NBC's Peacock. They do have the replays on there. They are actually broadcasting it on there, I guess. So I watched Stage 4, part of Stage 4, up to the car, through the cars. So I watched a bunch of the bike stuff where the Americans got very, very little coverage. And then they got to the T1 Plus, where people from Lithuania or wherever got coverage and interviews, extra camera time, and they have one shot of a Toyota Gazoo Racing 204 of Seth and Dennis coming around the corner, and they say, and the 22-year-old Seth Quintero wins the stage, and they cut right to somebody that finished 15th.
How weird. Yeah.
For like this in-depth interview.
Huh.
And I'm like, you guys suck. Like, the USA is here. We are in Dakar. We are stomping a lot of your asses frequently. You better pay attention.
Yeah, how strange. Yeah, I don't know. I think watch some of the YouTube stuff because I think you'll like it better.
Watch it on Peacock.
I haven't. I'll watch on Peacock to sympathize and empathize with your disdain. But yeah, I think for your mental health, watch on YouTube. I think it's a little more.
All right,
Yeah.
I will. If you watch Stage 4 on Peacock and then get back to me and tell me, dude, you're right, or dude, I don't know what you were watching, but yeah, shame, 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 ding ding, shame, ding ding, shame, ding ding. Peacock, ASO, FIM, Dakar, for shrugging off the Americans and their amazing achievements. They didn't even mention it was his, it just didn't even mention it was his second win.
How weird. How biased.
Yes.
How disgusting.
Horribly. Makes me want to vomit moist flesh.
France, we're back at it. Game on.
Game on. They started it this time.
Gave you a year off, and here we are.
Dude, I've been good. I've been really good till today, right?
Yeah, well, nice guys finished last. It's on.
Yep, it's on. Party on. So, yeah, with that, man, I think we should probably wrap up.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Man, I don't know. Tomorrow's Friday. That's exciting. That's about all I got. Supercross is back this weekend, so I'll be watching on TV this weekend, and then I'll be going to Anaheim too. So
yeah, nice.
Yeehaw.
Very cool.
Yeah,
very cool. That's awesome. Yeah, it's good. We're on this break because Supercross is starting. So
yeah,
Arena Cross will be back January 24th, Friday, January 24th. No, Friday, January 24th. And then, so one night in Guthrie, Oklahoma, Lazy Arena, big night, a lot of good stuff coming. And then I believe it's January 31st, February 1st, Reno, Nevada, doubleheader, back in Reno, the grungiest, biggest little city in the world or something like that. I can't remember. Dirtiest gambling city in the world. I don't remember. And then straight on from there, I think it's February 5th and 6th or 6th and 7th, doubleheader in Prescott Valley, Arizona
Sweet.
at Finlay Toyota Center. I'm hoping to see some of my good friends like Red Bull athlete Mia Chapman there. The Podfather is saying he's going to come out.
All right.
So I'm looking forward to that. And then we got a big break from there, like 2.5 weeks till the championship in Daytona. So it's as it goes, man. Tarps off, boys.
Tarps
you
off.
know, let's get her done.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Other than that, dude, it's been great. I loved your recap of your race.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm bummed for you, but you know, it was a great recap, and thanks for all the data on Dakar.
Yeah.
And Statman Extraordinaire on our AMA Arena Cross Championship presented by Kicker. Actually, I think it's now called the AMA Kicker Arena Cross Championship Series.
Okay, I like it. All right.
So,
yeah, no, I'm just glad to have someone to talk about it with.
Yeah, for sure.
All of the above. So,
amen.
Let's get in these partner plugs.
Let's get it done. All right. So we've got, of course, Kicker Performance Audio. Find them online, kicker.com, on Instagram at Kicker Audio, every other Tuesday night live on their TV show, Kicker Unmasked Live, on their YouTube channel and Facebook. All your audio needs for your truck, car, boat. Oh, they just released the new Kicker Real Marine trademark premium audio component and coaxial speakers and subwoofers. Definitely worth checking out if you're in the marine market. I have heard these. I have hands on them. There happens to be a set or 2 or 3 right there. They are outstanding. There's not another brand in the world in that class that sounds near as good.
No way.
No, they're just amazing. Kicker Performance Audio, kicker.com, on Instagram at Kicker Audio. Bomber Eyewear, the leader in comfortable safety eyewear and super cool eyewear. BomberEyewear.com, on Instagram at Bomber Eyewear. Over 40 styles of frames, all kinds of lenses, and you can get them polarized in an ANSI 87 OSHA approved safety lens in a dark smoke like I'm wearing right now in these credible boogie bombs. I also have them in mirror blue, mirror green, mirror red, and several pairs of dark smoke. But yeah, man, over 40 styles of frames, and I don't even know how many colors and styles of lenses and combinations. They do readers now. They do prescription, everything, anything you need, even blue light. I've got a pair right here. Use them all the time. That's bombereyewear.com. When you're in their shopping cart ready to check out, be sure and use that discount code Cole.
MAddOG
20. That's the MAddOG 20.
Wow.
Let them know you listen to us and we love you. Assault Industries, man, find them online. AssaultIND.com. IND like industries. That's right. AssaultIND.com, or on Instagram at Assault, ASSAULTUTV. And Cole, tell us about Assault.
Listen, whenever I think about Assault Industries, I think, Assault Industries is dedicated to providing high quality UTV accessories that enhance performance, durability, and the style of your vehicle. With a focus on innovation, durability, and customer satisfaction, Assault Industries and their products are the trusted choice for UTV enthusiasts.
Yeah, and I personally use a lot of their products, and
They make
I
nice
endorse
stuff.
them. Yeah, they make nice stuff. They make strong stuff. They make durable stuff. So check them out. That's Assault, ASSAULTIND.com. Of course, the Premix Podcast, our dude Cole, man, slide into his DMs over at the Premix Podcast on Instagram. Schedule him to MC or announce your next race or event, or catch up on some of his photography work at the next desert race. Hook up with him, the @ symbol, ThePremixPodcast on Instagram. Of course, Kelsey Morrell Film and Media, handling all of our video madness, our audio production, getting everything ready for your wonderful ears to hear it. And I just want to give a special shout out to Kane's Appetite for Adventure, my friend Kane, who gave us a glorious compliment of how good our audio sounds. And I said, that's all thanks to Cole doing the production and Kelsey doing all the final production. And you want your video and audio to be perfect, hit up Kelsey Morrell Film or the Premix Podcast. Either one, they can hook you up. They work together. Kelsey Morrell Film on Instagram at Kelsey Morrell Film. Of course, Hey Geeks Marketing, handling our website, MAddOG'SGarage.com, and our social media templates and logo work. If you like the way we look, you'll love the way she can make you look. Find her on the webs, heygeeks.com, or on Instagram at HeyGeeksMarketing. With that, Cole, do the speech.
Make sure to rate, review, subscribe on your favorite streaming platform.
Dude, brings a tear to my eye every time. So
That's great.
beautiful.
I
You
don't
got
know if it should.
anything to lead out with?
Yeah, especially regarding Dakar USA, these colors don't run. And I will
Sing
end on
it.
that.
Yeah. With that, I do, God bless our first responders, and God, please keep a safe hand on all of our first responders working on the horrible California fires. Thoughts and prayers for all those affected. Of course, God bless our military. God bless our personnel all around the world. God bless our veterans. God bless you, our fans. God bless America. Mad Dog out.